The key to longevity is infinite flexibility. Flexibility in your mind and also flexibility in your body. How can you be flexible? Like when shit hits the fan, how can you pivot and trust that the universe, God, creator, whatever you believe in, is always sending you exactly what you need to evolve to the next level? Like I really trust that. We're never given anything that we can't handle. It is a gift of growth and it's painful going through it at times. It's uncomfortable. It's stretching. But on the other side is always an upgraded version of ourselves.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I had a mentor once that was like, in the midst of chaos, clarity's right around the corner. Living is sorting it out. That's what life is. I say this to people all the time. When you're in it, it's life. That's what life is. Life is a series of moments of figuring it out. You figure it out.
And there's always one area in your life that needs a little bit more love and attention. Like I've always said, health, wealth, and love. I'll teach you how to be wildly wealthy, fabulously healthy, and bursting with love. They are the 3 core pillars of your life. And I feel like there's always one area that needs a little bit more love. Like you might be like, my relationships are killing it. I'm all good. My health, great. But my business needs love. My finances need some love. This is the gift. We're always going to be given these little gifts to grow. I'm not sure like if you've ever met anyone who's like, every area of my life right now is peachy.
Totally. But I do think, especially in the wellness industry, the wealth part of it is where people struggle the most. There's this still, and I feel like it stems back from like old naturopathic belief system that you need to help everyone but not make any money.
Babe, I felt the same.
Right.
When I first started, because I started as a health coach. I was like, I can't charge because I just need to help people. How does that pay your mortgage or your rent?
But it also doesn't get the outcomes that you are hoping for either. No. I was talking to someone about this morning and we were laughing because Chris, my husband, and I are very different. He would treat everybody for free. That's all good and well, but they don't get the outcomes because they haven't invested anything into it to get the outcome.
There needs to be an energetic exchange.
So important.
I am such a huge believer in that. Like I recently spent $30,000 on a mastermind. You can bet your bottom dollar that I was showing up at 4 a.m. for those calls.
I've done the same.
You know what I mean?
I have done the same.
If I hadn't have had that energetic exchange, I don't think I would have turned up to the 4 a.m. calls.
Even if it was probably $10,000, you wouldn't have turned up to the 4 a.m. calls. No. You're like, this better work.
Yes. And anytime Nick and I invest in our relationship, in our health, in our business growth, whatever, and we really go all in, the results are 10x'd. It's a mindset
So what do you
shift.
think most women get wrong when they're trying to build a brand that's authentic?
Ooh. Trying to be other people.
Do you know, it's interesting you say that because I watched with so many coaches in that time where you and I first met. There were a lot of health coaches, a lot. It was saturated. And I remember thinking, gosh, there are a lot of carbon copies of each other happening right now. Everyone wanted to be someone. And I would actually say a lot of people wanted to be you.
Oh.
I would say that. The interesting thing to me was that she who remained authentic is still standing and a lot of the others are not because I feel like everyone tried to be a certain way and be a certain person. They all had good intentions, but it's so hard to maintain that facade. It doesn't work.
I am a completely different person to before I had Bambi and now again after Prince. I've gone through matrescence twice. And as you know, that is like a complete cracking open. This is how I explained it the other day. I feel like Humpty Dumpty. I came in here singing Hop Little Bunny. This is the story of my life right now. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, you put your right arm in, you put your right, like that is it. Matrescence is kind of like Humpty Dumpty. Cracked wide open. Your brain is the most malleable it will ever be. I've got full goosebumps. You get to then pick what puzzle pieces you want to put back of your identity, who you are, and then what new ones you want to replace. I am still, since, 4 years in, I am still in that discovery, like that exploration, and it's exciting and it's also uncomfortable.
But it doesn't ever end, does it, really?
You're 17 years in. Does it end?
It definitely doesn't end. You kind of go, okay, they're out of nappies. I don't need to chase them around with a bowl of food anymore. Great. They start school. They start to get friends. That's the whole thing. You got to navigate through that.
Yes.
All of your insecurities that you had come up. That's
I can
wild.
see it now. When another child is mean to Bambi, I cry.
I loved high school and I hated primary school. And Livy, through primary school, was like, Awful. And just a lot of stuff that I lived came back up again.
Like bullying and stuff?
Yeah, you know, it wasn't so much bullying. I grew up in a really tiny primary school. There were 3 grade 6 girls. That was it. And the rest were boys. 2's company, 3's a crowd. It was awful. I actually really hated it. It felt a bit cult-like almost. It was very insular. When I went to high school and it was big and there were so many people and I had lots of friends groups and I loved it. When it was time for my children to go to school, I'm like, what's the biggest school I can find? I do not want them to have that experience. Now, my parents would be like, that was the best school. You were so nurtured. Schools don't exist like that now. They really thought long and hard about where we went to school. But my experience of that was awful.
And they thought they were doing the right thing.
And I probably thought I was doing the right thing by sending them to a massive school. It's just interesting. So it doesn't end, you know, but I do think the one thing that remains is we do need to be present and it doesn't have to be 24/7. And the other thing I really believe is that as long as children are loved, then everything works out.
Do you still have mum guilt?
Not as much as I used to, but having said that, I've been home a lot more. I haven't had to travel as much. I don't think it ever goes away fully.
I know. Like, okay, so I have a friend. She's a big female entrepreneur. She's got a little boy who is 2. And before she had her little boy, she was like, I will not subscribe to mum guilt. And she literally doesn't subscribe to it.
Wow.
She doesn't have it. And I'm like, teach me.
How? If a little bit of the guilt would come in, I got very good at going, just don't think and do, which I don't know if that's healthy. But that's what I would, when people be like, how are you leaving them? Like, just don't think, just do. Like, just put one foot in front of the other.
Yes.
I can't let the emotion actually, because I would never do anything if I did that.
I would never leave their side. And I saw this Instagram reel. It's like the ultimate polarity of motherhood and business, right? It's like you desperately want some time to go and do your business or like have some time for yourself, but then you don't want to miss a thing. That is me. I'm like constantly like this.
Right. And it's so cliche, but I hand on heart can say it does go really fast. And there are pockets that I think back and I'm like, I don't remember what happened with the kids. Like there's pockets where I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was present, but I was doing things. And I think actually, yes, it's so important to be present when they're little, but I think it's equally, if not more important, to be present as they get older. That's
Especially
what I'm
those
finding.
teens.
Yeah, I'm finding that. You know what? I won't subscribe to terrible teenagers. That's what I won't subscribe to. I really feel like we set the example. I was determined for my children as teenagers to not be that. You get what you expect. If you expect terrible teenagers, you're going to get terrible teenagers. So that's never been on our vocabulary. I mean, it doesn't end. But I don't think the guilt, I don't think it's guilt now. It's more of a longing to want to be there.
I know, longing, like for every second. Every second I want to be there. And I also need some time for me too.
Well, I was very excited to come away to record these because I know I'm not fully present at the moment. Oh, there's that much going on in here. I just need a day to kind of like rearrange all of that. We've been away. It's been Easter. Like there's been so much going on. I know I'll go back now and be like, okay, I'm sorted.
Yes.
I'm all yours.
And I think as long as we are present with them when we're in front of them,
Yeah.
the quality of our attention matters.